Hello, everyone. For this week's discussion post, I did my presentation on Madam C.J. Walker, who was actually formerly known before her name change as Sarah Breedlove. So, Madam Walker is revered not only as one of the first female self-made millionaires, but she created her business as a black woman battling the challenges of racial discrimination and prejudice in the 19th century. Her legacy and success is not only inspiring for the challenges she faced, but also for how she leaned into those challenges, which made her business and her entrepreneurship so successful and really a great study of the American economic system. And this leaned in this decision and strategy that she took with her business was integral in the quality that truly does embody what our American free market economy intends to support and be for. So, to start off, in early life of Sarah Breedlove, she was born in 1867 in Louisiana. Her parents were enslaved before emancipation after the Civil War, so she was the first of five children that was born emancipated. And she she was orphaned at a young age, so at 7 years old, her parents did pass away, and she faced extreme poverty throughout her life. But she worked as a laundress during her teenage years, and while that work was very laborsome and difficult, it really was kind of the work and life choice for her that kind of sprung her into what she became by the end of her life. So she created this beauty beauty manufacturer focusing on hair products, and it was really due to the fact that herself was impacted by hair loss, which arguably started while being a laundress. But despite her limited formal education, she overcame so many barriers while being um, a young woman in the 19th century, trying to work as a black woman, and this nature of the work of a laundress not only did contribute to her hair loss, which she identified as she wanted to make her own product, but this form of work really was crucial in her being a successful entrepreneur. I mean, there's a lot of different lines of work that free black women took on. A lot of them either worked in factories, being through an overseer, or they worked for white families and being kind of restricted to what these white families needed. But as a laundress, she really needed to market herself. She was an independent worker as a laundress, and she needed to market herself as a service provider, and that was crucial in her own kind of informal education of how to market herself and strategize herself and be someone that was independent um, as as a businesswoman. And it taught her ways to better market and maintain clients because there are a lot of other laundresses out there. She was able to take this opportunity and kind of build upon it when she wanted to take a step away from being a laundress, and with the impacts of being a laundress of her hair loss um, occurring, she was like, I'm going to make my own product that I know a lot of other women and people like me are struggling with. So building this business. So she began developing hair care products designed specifically for black women. So again, she identified a demographic that she knew was just like her, that at this time in our American economic history is a demographic that had been isolated, ignored, and not addressed. But they are still consumers. And she leaned right into that. She's like, I'm someone that is affected by this issue. I'm going to make a product for black people that I know that if it's a good product, is going to be purchased. And she didn't just stop there. And that's what makes her journey and her study of her as an entrepreneur, not just a black woman, but as an individual entrepreneur that she identified a demographic that needed a product and a service, but she went beyond identifying a clientele. She took that clientele and she created and enveloped that into her own business. She took these clients and created schools for beauty education and created these agents that in turn kind of not a catch-22, but as a business model, she's taking clients that want her product and is like, I'm going to use you as somebody that can grow my product. So really twofold in a business model and a business strategy that was remarkable in her success. And this strategy really aligned closely with Booker T. Washington. While Booker T. arguably did kind of butt heads with Madam Walker because he was more focused on the male gender's success, his focus was still Black-owned businesses for Black people, and Madam Walker was certainly aligned with that. She was just promoting that females can do it too. So through her innovative marketing and product development that operated really like a modern day Mary Kay, to create a connection and an idea of really what it felt and looked like back in the 19th century. Madam Walker became one of these first self-made millionaires in American history. And again, regardless of race, we see a woman that has made herself a millionaire as a poor orphaned child, and through her own strategy and marketing and business. And that's the very essence of a free market economy, and especially what the American economy attempts to offer for people. And she's the embodiment of that. So her company not only brought her wealth, but she also uplifted others. Again, she didn't just stop at identifying a clientele. She took that clientele and made it grow her own business by taking these women and training them and educating them to be beauticians and be a live-in model of what her product can do and what it can offer as a business. So it really was a genius model that grew her enterprise while also offering an opportunity for a demographic that she aligned with and that she was a part of that was suffering at this crucial time in American economy, where we have this shift of a Southern economy and a Southern clientele and Southern workforce that is kind of adapting and becoming a part of the economy. So Madam Walker's success also reflects this broader demographic shift. So again, with the target clientele that she has identified, they are also migrating. So after the Civil War, a lot of these freedmen are moving to the north, and she identified these cities and these markets and these areas where these people were at. And she migrated herself to St. Louis in Missouri and then expanded into Indianapolis and Pittsburgh and New York. And she met her target clientele where they were at and expanded and didn't just isolate her business in one area. And what made herself such a successful and admirable entrepreneur is that she didn't just take one business and just solely focus in one area or build it and allow someone else to take over. She was thoroughly involved in every manufacturer, company, and factory. She used a manager that really helped with her business, but she was integral in this in the overseeing of her business. But she allowed others to grow and build the enterprise with her. But again, her entrepreneurial model responded to this economic exclusion by creating this parallel opportunity for these markets that had been previously segregated. Again, aligning with Booker T. Washington's ideas of promoting and serving and providing opportunities for these newly black freedmen that hadn't had an opportunity in the nation's economy up until Reconstruction. And however, again, like I had said, Washington preferred a male-owned business. Walker still maintained her ownership and maintained stock, and with black-owned people, kept that at the top, understood that significance and that importance, that she didn't need or want the white demographic to take over, that she was a black-owned business that served black people. So finally, Madam Walker was a social visionary, not just a businesswoman. She transformed her personal struggles into a collective empowerment, providing a pathway to economic independence for thousands of women. By doing so, she defied social expectations for both race and gender. So again, she's at a time where women and black people alike are challenged in the 19th century. But she proved that the American economic system, when given opportunities and doing things right and successfully, that anyone, despite challenges, can make what they believe and what they want. So she, again, leaned into her situation through a free market economy. She took advantage of those opportunities. She created a solution for her own problem and recognized that an entire demographic shared in that struggle. And that target specifically was underappreciated clientele, not only met them with a product that they needed and wanted from somebody that they wanted it to be created by. She made those eager customers her own agents to not only expand her business, but also provide opportunities for people that haven't been given opportunities before. And Madam Walker, revered as the first black self-made millionaire, should not just be remembered for that, but she should be remained as a visionary of business, regardless of race or gender. That as an entrepreneur, she identified a product, a demographic that was intentional, and she truly met her customers where they are, and not only just met them with a service and product that they needed, but offered them an opportunity to expand themselves. And that's truly what the American economic system was meant to offer and preserve. So thank you. Looking forward to everyone else did their research, and have a great rest of your week.